All right, Steve, are we ready? The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Direct us, O Lord, in all our doing, with your most gracious favor. Further us with your continual help, that in all our works begun, continued, and ended in you, we may glorify your holy name, and finally, by your mercy, obtain everlasting life, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Welcome to the parish town hall. This is the first one I've attended. I've watched the others online, so it's my first one. I'm all excited. I don't have much to add to the topic because it's going to be presented by your stewardship chairs, Nancy Hodder and Dan Walker. But if you have any questions, we'll save those to the end, and I'm happy to take those.
Have I got the right mic, Steve? Great. I'd like, first of all, to ask if you have an agenda handout. Okay, Lou is coming around in case you need one. I want to say thank you for coming in today. And I'm just going to ask a quick question. If you back row sitters would like to move a little closer, I could give you a minute to do that. It looks like it's going to be a small group, and I think we can have more of a conversation. What would I do with that, Steve? I'd just like to quickly review the meeting norms. It's not going to work for you to just stand in place and speak. We're going to need for you to come to the microphone. Nobody can hear you, and nobody can appreciate your concern, which may be theirs, unless you speak audibly. And you may have good intentions, but not everyone's ears are as good as yours are. So we ask a couple of other things of you. To respect everyone's opinion. This is an opportunity for us to learn from one another. We ask that you listen actively. And that means concentrating on processing what you're hearing. Don't make us do what I used to do when I taught in public school, which was the say everything 3 times. And sometimes the attentive listeners got tired of that. Don't speak while anyone else has the floor. And remember, courtesy of my co-warden, Dan Walker, remember, you could be wrong. We have tried to distill this information down to the bare minimum. And many of you, I like to hope that you have had a chance to read this booklet that was either picked up by you last week or you should have received in the mail. If you are on our mailing list and did not get this, please see me. This packet came in a white envelope. I want to be sure that we have an updated mailing list. That would be great. You can see me after this. Now, I want to call your attention first of all to item Roman numeral 3A. This, I believe, captures the wonderful work that we have engaged in this year at Redeemer. It's a collaborative effort, and most times we look at our budget sheets that are typically captured as line items, and they have assigned codes. But a different way to consider the good work that happens here at Redeemer is to look at how our different ministries benefit. So I'd like to take just a few minutes to call your attention to the pie chart. If you by any chance have your booklet, page 3 has a slightly different version of the pie chart. Instead of percentages, it has actual numbers. But I want to talk about percentages because I'd like for you to think about what you consider to be important. So starting at the top of the pie chart is pastoral care. That encompasses the church community, the work that we do for our parishioners, for our missions such as REDS, Wishing Well Park, our denominational partners, etc. You may wonder who our denominational partners are. They are actually down in Parish Hall right now. Our denominational partner for the blood drive is Salisbury Presbyterian Church. So these are ministries that are actively shared between. The blood drive is an example of a ministry that is actively shared by both churches. Also in this broad category of pastoral care, we take Eucharist to the homebound, we deliver Meals on Wheels, and many more like projects. Outreach, moving around clockwise around the chart, 22%. This utilizes time, talent, and treasure to support charities that minister to people with critical needs. This is not usually a Redeemer parishioner. These are communities, residents who need food, shelter, clothing. And one of the ways that we fund this generally is through our Christmas tree sales. Moving down, the biggest piece of the pie chart between 4 and 8 o'clock on your pie chart is worship, 32%. This is the anchor for this parish. Almost a third of this budget goes to the ministries in which clergy and lay professionals and volunteers plan and execute Episcopal worship services according to the Book of Common Prayer. The ministry expenses are vast. Communion supplies, flowers, liturgical appointments, programs, music, you name it, that all goes into that number. Moving around to formation, 12%. Religious education for all ages, from nursery through adulthood, and those of us who are in our golden years. While Sunday morning is a major focus, there are many, many other opportunities. There's women's Bible study, men's Bible study during the week. There will be a women's retreat in 2024. And just consider the myriad of opportunities for our children and youth. All of this comes under this umbrella. They benefit from projects in-house, Sunday school. They benefit from Children's Chapel. They also go outside this building for a local outreach camp in the summer and take pilgrimages. Building and grounds, 22%. It's really hard to capture building and grounds in this number, but this is the amount that is allocated through the current budget. So when you look at this campus, you know that it is complex. It includes worship space, classrooms, 2 kitchens, 2 reception halls, and all of the supporting offices, restrooms, hallway space, all of that links us together. And that's, I think, an important thing to realize, how critical this space is to our linking with each other. There are maintenance projects that are factored in to the annual budget, and then there are special projects. Our HVAC, which is considered a major project, as was the paving of the parking lot. I want to say I would be really remiss if I didn't recognize the people who were involved in the parking lot project. Eric, Dan, Tommy, who am I overlooking? This is always dangerous. Lou. Thank you, all of you, for the energy and your attention to detail. I've only got one major point to make. These percentages on the pie chart include salaries for professional staff and the supporting materials that are required for them to carry out their responsibilities. What this does not include are the almost incalculable number of volunteer hours that we and you have invested in the success and growth of our spiritual home. And now to Dan.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm going to try to do this, and the goal is for me to finish up in about 18 minutes at 10:30, and that'll leave us plenty of time for questions. Depending how robust you are with the questions, don't be thrown off if people start doing stuff to set up, but we want to be done if we can be by 1:45 so the altar guild and others can get going. So I'm going to go over the goals down there, and I hope they're self-explanatory, but I'll give you a little detail about it. The first, I'm told, may be aspirational. Call me an optimist, I don't see that. It's 100% participation. And the reason why I find it hard to believe it's aspirational is participation means we get a response. We hear from you. You let us know you're alive. If you can't give anything, that's a response. So a response of, I'm unable to give right now, is a response. So really what we're looking for is, we gave out 100 and whatever it was packets. We want to hear from 180 people. It helps us do a couple of things. Whoa. It helps us do a couple of things. Number one, we're trying to figure out this realm thing still. We got addresses in the system. This helps us make sure we got the right addresses, right? If you got it, we know how to reach it, so that's a good thing. So please, respond. And I think we have a goal of, we're going to celebrate on the 19th of November because of our Thanksgiving celebration. One of the things we're going to be giving thanks for is the responses we've gotten so far. Now, if you send something after the 19th, we'll take it. But the 19th, we're going to celebrate. So we would love to have all the responses in by the 19th. But please respond. The week of the 19th, if we haven't heard from you, we're going to assume something's wrong. And we're going to start following up. And our intent is to continue to follow up until we make contact with you to make sure it's okay and we understand you've been heard. So please respond as quickly as you can. We would love to have 100% of the people just respond. The second one may feel a little bit more meaty, which is 15% growth in the operating budget, which means $750,000 odd dollars. That is what we need to tread water. That's what we need to sustain what we're doing now. Okay? We've lost some givers in the last few years. Expenses have gone up. So the 15% growth in the overall budget does not afford us the ability to do more. It affords us the ability to continue to do the wonderful services that Nancy laid out. But that's why we have that goal to raise the budget by it's roughly $100,000 ballpark for those of you who rather hear numbers than percentages. It's important. Now, so far, we've done nothing to tell you about what you should give. And the reason is, that's between you and God. Is not our place. We're not going to try to sell you. We're just telling you the facts. We need $100,000 more than we're currently getting in order to sustain what we're doing. Substantial growth in the number of e-givers. Molly gave the vestry some books to read that are really focused on the church of the future and how things very specifically tied to COVID have changed and may never go back. It's a new world. We do things differently now. And one of the things it talks about is the importance of e-giving. Electronically, you don't have to be here. Automated, so that when you're sick that Sunday and you're not here to put the envelope in the plate, the church can still go on. Fact of life, our expenses are week in, week out. Since the beginning of time, I think, all churches, go through a summer lull and giving is down and then it comes back up. Why in the world is that? And the reason is people go on vacation, they're not here, and then hopefully they catch up. But it makes it easier on you, and it absolutely makes it easier on the church if the steady stream is coming in week in, week out. 15% growth, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to get the terminology right. Sustaining supporters. We need 15% more dollars to sustain what we're doing. Part of that is people giving more. The other part is people who maybe currently don't pledge. There I go. Mm-hmm. I owe Molly $10. She bet me I couldn't do this without using the word pledge. We need more people who are in the church. We've got folks who come regularly that may not give an ongoing gift. We want to see that change. We want to see people join the group of sustained givers. And we certainly anticipate, you've seen the energy in the last 30 days. We certainly anticipate with Molly here that we're going to see new people come in as they hear about all the excitement. My goodness, if you want to have an idea of the health of a church, hopefully if you weren't at 9 a.m., you missed a joyous service with more kids than you could shake a stick at, and all of them praising the Lord. It was absolutely wonderful. But we need to have more. Again, the idea of why people tend to do these types of things at this time of year is we have a fiduciary responsibility to manage this church, and that includes running off of a budget. I doubt that anybody here in your home life doesn't have a budget of some sort and level. So we've got to do it, and the only way we can base that budget is off what we know is coming in. You can't base a budget. I'm not willing on my personal front to base a budget on what I hope my boss gives me next year as a raise. I base my budget on what I know, which is this is what I get. So imagine running your household budget if your boss said, I'm going to give you X dollars a year sometime during the year. It'll be a nice surprise when you get the check in the mail, okay? Scott, I know when you're in your business, when running your business is a little different. So please, if you currently do not, and by the way, the reason that we're avoiding using this term pledge is there's some negative connotations that apparently have grown out of that word. So this is a conversation between you and God, considering all the things that the church does to determine what you give. I'm going to digress from the script for a second because that's what I do. And without being too preachy, because reasonable people can disagree on how much the Lord is calling us to give. And again, that's an individual discussion. But what I think, if you study the Bible, what I think is irrefutable is the Lord wants that gift to be sacrificial. It's not just in the Old Testament that the Lord looks for sacrifices, it's the New Testament also. Lord knows Jesus Christ sacrificed. So it's sacrificial. So whether you believe in proportional giving, 10%, 5%, 20%, or whatever, sacrificial. If at the end of the month you haven't noticed what you gave away, maybe time to think we need to up that a little bit. Sacrificial. Okay, I don't think Bill Gates giving 10% is sacrificial. Coincidentally, and I have no reason to believe that it comes from a theological thing, but I think it's interesting that both Bill Gates and some other billionaires have publicly said they're going to give away 90 to 99% of their money. Okay? Sacrificial. The other equally important ingredient is it needs to be joyous. Okay? It needs to be joyous. You need to smile when you, I was going to say write that check. When you do your electronic giving, it really needs to be joyous, right? The Lord tells us, give to me, and then watch me blow the doors off your warehouses. But be joyful about it. It's not a negative, it's a positive. It's your opportunity to look at the abundance God has given you and to give back a little. We're trying to make it as easy as possible to give. So there are 3 ways to give. Number 1, we gave you a card in the packet, stewardship card. Yep, no, stewardship's okay. Stewardship's okay. I don't owe you another 10. Good. So please, that's way number 1. Way number 2 is to go online, and we give you a link here. We gave you a link in the packets where you can go online, and there's this QR code that gets you there. I want to really put in a plug for doing it electronically, another plug. And that is, not only is it easy, I was one of the test cases for Dale, and it took, once I got in, which took, because I was fumbling with it, it took like 8 seconds to do my pledge, okay? It's easy, but the other thing is, you're in complete control. One of the reasons that the word pledge has taken on, with some people, some negative connotation is folks, and what I'm understanding from the class I took, younger folks hear the word and they think debt, and they don't want that debt over them. That's why we chose the term more of an intentional gift. That's your intention. Intentions may change. Well, in the past, I've been electronically giving since we offered it just because it's easy for me, right? Signed up. But then I had to go to the church to say, hey, I got a raise. I want to give a little bit more. Now you don't have to do that. You go into Realm and change it. So please, whenever you decide to give, if your boss gives you a raise, feel free to go in Realm and up it a little bit, okay? You're in control if you do it electronically. And that to me, because when it comes, as I've told you in previous town halls, when it comes to my money and my time, I'm very, very careful and cautious with it. So I love the fact that through Realm, I can control how much and I can control when, okay? So please really strongly consider, after you have prayerfully considered how much, looking at Realm and doing it electronically. Did I cover everything? Before we go to the question, Nancy, and since it's money, I'm assuming there are questions. Nancy mentioned we have the microphone here. If you are physically unable to get to the microphone, that's okay. We got the next best thing, which is Steve Rabel lurking behind you, looking for a hand to go up, and he will dance to you. He's promised to dance, and he will hand you a microphone. So, with that being said, the floor is open for questions. Okay. Okay, so we'll start off with stewardship questions, if possible, and then once we don't see any activity, we'll open it up for any other questions. By the way, we have at least half the vestry here today, thank y'all. So we've got people who really know what's going on to answer your questions.
I have a quick question. The business owner in me has a quick question. With the e-giving, is there a processing fee that we lose a percentage of?
Here comes Dale with the intelligent answer.
There is, but you can opt to pay that. In other words, there's a like if you make a $5 contribution or something like that, and the fee is like 50 cents, you can actually opt to pay that too. Pardon? The actual percentage. Yeah, it's actually in there, I believe. I'll get back. I'm not really sure I can tell you that. I can tell you that the actual dollar percent will be in there, whatever it is. It's like 1% or something like that, but don't quote me on that exactly.
So if someone from our household went to pick up our pledge packet last week and we didn't have one with our name on it, and we know that we have registered in Realm, should we be concerned?
Thanks for asking.
It's weird.
Yes, and we have looked into that deeply because there is absolutely no reason that the Steve Raybold family should have been omitted from the list. And we're just not sure exactly why. You are in Realm, and so the labels, just to make a really long story even longer, the labels were printed for the first time using our new Realm. So please forgive.
But I will say that when we did pick up a generic packet, the cookie was very good.
Yes, I know on the card that it offered the required minimum distribution. Somebody's going to be able to talk to me about how to do that? From your IRA,
Yeah.
automatic to the church?
That's a great way to give. If you are to the point where you have required distributions from your retirement account, you can assign those. You talk to your broker or whoever is managing your account, and you can assign that the money gets sent directly to the church, so it is not taxable to you, and it is a charitable donation. This is a win-win-win. So if you don't absolutely need your retired or your required distribution, or if it just evens out, you could take your required distribution to the church and other money the other way, win-win. So please consider that.
Did you have something, Fred, or were you just going? So for those online, Fred Barnhart said he would be glad to, if you have questions. Dale, or certainly Molly just showed off how much she knows, which is a ton more than I know. So very impressive, Molly.
Well, see, that's news to me. Fred just said you could give up, it's not just what the amount that's required, you can give up to $100,000 a year. So any of you who are feeling called to do that, please, feel free.
I'm glad some of y'all laughed because I'm sitting here sweating. Yes, Ed.
First of all, kudos to Mother Molly and Grace and Nancy and yourself. 9 o'clock service, there was a fluttering of the spirit. Okay, I haven't felt that in a while. So kudos to those involved with today's service. Question I have is a couple. Do you know ballpark money that we make on the tree lot?
On the tree?
Tree lot, tree sales.
I think it's $10,000 or $12,000 net.
12, 15, 14? We get about 15,000. Yeah, I figured that, okay. J2A, when we do the rummage sale, ballpark?
Okay, Dale has said about 15 for the trees, and I believe it's been between 12 and 15,000 for the rummage sale.
It varies. Where I'm going is basically in a matter of 2 weeks or so for the Christmas tree sales, you're making 12 to 14,000. J2A, I know you're making 12, sometimes even 20. And I know it goes to outreach or it goes to the J2A pilgrimage and things like that. We're talking about taking money out of our pockets. Is there another way of fundraising for the church that the money goes directly to our budget?
We don't have anything else right this minute. We are going to add some things like we'll be inviting people to donate the altar flowers in somebody's name, honor, memory, so forth, and that money will go straight to the bottom line. Well, it'll pay for the flowers and then go to the bottom.
Is there other activities we can do for fundraising for the church that we benefit in? We all have time, more so than money. And so if we can donate our time for a fundraiser event, not just once, maybe a couple times during the year, then that money comes in to offset some of the costs of the church.
Give me time.
Just as a question, relative to what he just said, I recall in our last budget back in January, there was a vote to put the tree lot into our operating fund, not exclusively for outreach. Am I misremembering?
No, you are not.
So I am remembering correctly that our tree lot now goes into our operating fund as opposed to exclusive outreach. Thank you.
Let me explain something about that. It is not kosher, that's the word, I'm not coming up with the professional word. It is not appropriate, it is not good accounting practices to have a separate budget for outreach or ECW or any other. It is not appropriate to do that from a business standpoint. The fact that we raise that money and say this is going to outreach, it is going to outreach, but it goes through the budget first. The other thing that people don't understand that is outreach is what we give the diocese, which right now is $30,000 a year, which frankly is too low. But that is 100% outreach. because that is outside of our doors for the good of the world. So it's not just what we earn from the trees or what gets given to the kids for their walk, it's also what we take from our budget to give to the diocese. Outreach is a lot.
Okay. Any other financial stewardship questions? Who's got a question about something else of general interest? If you've got a particular situation, we probably need to deal with it one-on-one, but if you have got a general question, we'd love to hear it.
Let me make the announcement that the position announcement for a replacement for our interim choir director organist was submitted last week. I don't know that it's on the website yet, although it's on them. We have given them everything that we need. So that will provide us with someone. Dwight has been incredibly generous to step up, but we want somebody to do both the 11 o'clock and the 9 o'clock service, and somebody who's willing to stay, prepared to stay for a good long time. So that's in the works. We're working on it right now. Yes, ma'am.
On that same topic, I hope that we included a provision in the description for some sort of children's musical formation, because, that's where many of us, I think, connected the most with God as children. And I think, there's a church down the street that has many children's choirs. We could try to have one. It would just mean a lot to me, and it's about me today. Sorry, just kidding.
Thanks for that feedback. Right now, what we're advertising for is a halftime person, which doesn't allow a lot of time for children's choirs, but it's something to strive for, because look at the kids that sang today. I mean, it was amazing, and we want that. And I'm with you about connecting by music.
The money given in the stewardship campaign would help us to be able to have more money to get somebody to do that. Thank you for that segue. Appreciate it.
Just to clarify, the halftime position that you're offering would cover the 9 and the 11?
Correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. Can somebody tell me more about the lamps and the lighting of the church? Because I noticed that there are lighting on the grounds that aren't here yet. Can somebody give me an update on this beautiful, and I will say, beautiful job on the lighting, really love it, but does anybody know about an update for the lighting?
I'll give it a go. Yeah, anyway, as you can tell, the parking lot has been done. And when we did the project plans, we also included the decorative poles around the church and around the property, of which there are 13. Due to supply chain issues, originally we were told that all the poles and lighting would be in the 1st of September, but I haven't found a contractor yet that's met a delivery date in the course of my career, but that's a whole other issue. But right now, all the remaining poles and luminaries are in. We are scheduling this utility to come out. I was told that was going to be done by Friday, but again, contractor delays and whatnot. So we're hopeful that everything will be installed over the course. Remaining poles and fixtures will be installed over the course of the next 2 weeks. So that's where we are with that. And no one will be any more happier than me to have that completed.
Thank you, Brother Tommy. I will add, that includes not only the poles, but Tommy's looking into, there's lights over the 2 doors, the library and the office, that are out, and Tommy's looking into that too, because I will tell you, as was pointed out by Molly and the staff, now that it gets dark earlier, it is dark out there in the courtyard, and that's certainly not what we want.
Since nobody has asked my question, here goes. Could someone give us an update on the status of the HVAC system replacement for this space?
That's totally fine. The system has been ordered, so as everyone knows, the HVAC system that sits right behind the cross no longer works. It was an original installation when the church was built. When the church was built, that HVAC system was set with a crane, and the church was built around it, which is very normal construction. That's not anything special that Redeemer did. They also did it in the parish hall, by the way, so we've got that to look forward to. So it was set with a crane, so to get it out, obviously, we can't take it out any opening that currently exists. So in the kind of vestibule area leading into the office, the entire ceiling will be removed from that area. The unit will come down through that area, and the new unit will go back in that. Right now, the unit is ordered. We're in about an 8 to 10 week wait until that unit is on site for installation. Fingers crossed, we are heated before the Christmas season gets here. But we are in process. Unit is ordered. Unit is on its way. They are prepared to install once the unit arrives, but we're in a holding pattern until it arrives. I keep standing under something. So fingers crossed, the next 6-8 weeks, we'll have an HVAC system in place. Do you have a more updated time frame than that? That was my last conversation with Lisa.
That is the same that I know, and unfortunately, we also lost another HVAC system over in the education wing. So we're in the gathering of quotes for that one. That also is in ceiling. Got a lot.
But it was put in after the roof was set, so not quite as fun as this one is.
Thank you. Anybody else got a question?
I just want to say, on behalf of Grace and myself, how grateful we are for the way you hold your clergy in your hearts. I'm okay with you not saying with that. Yeah, you all are a wonderful parish. We feel your love and support, and it's deeply gratifying. I am thrilled to be here, and I have felt welcome from day one. I also want to say thank you to the vestry and those of you who are participating in the fact that Grace is going to take a 2-month sabbatical. Well earned, well deserved. Frankly, the fact that she's still here is pretty amazing and speaks to her faith. So, so you'll have to hear me preach week after week, but she'll be back. She promised me. That she will be back. Thank you all. Some priests actually don't like to call a church congregation a family, and the reason they don't is because it's unfortunate, but there are people in the world for whom family has a negative connotation, so they don't like to use that word. And for me, I would rather say, for those of us who have a positive connotation, family, it feels good. And for those who have a negative, maybe we can reverse that. Redeemer is a family. Thank you for that.
Go forth and have fun.
I got the 2 from there. There's a 3rd chip. We're in the 3rd. Okay.